Everybody is ablaze right now. Everybody's wondering what is really going on with Angel Reese. Has she just flat out quit again? Has she quit on the Chicago Sky? Angel, you gotta be, hold on, you have to have some level of self-awareness here.
I think Angel Reese, and I'm saying this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky. She's been claiming a back injury basically since the All-Star break. And there's no details. Every day we hear that Angel Reese is day to day. And every week there's no update on what she's struggling with, what she's doing. There's nothing. There's no information about Angel Reese. I think she's quit on this season. I think this is a worse version than Kawhi Leonard.
Hey, look, bro, you gotta remember, she quit in Unrivaled. She just stopped playing in Unrivaled. Said she was hurt, didn't show up for the championship game, didn't even show up and watch. Last season, she claimed her wrist was messed up, didn't finish playing in none of the games. Now, this year, she's saying this season, it's her back. It looked like she's not finishing playing in none of the games. The Sky needs you. The Chicago Sky, you guys are the gum on the bottom of the shoe of the league. They need Angel Reese to play in games. Angel, where you at? Where are you at, Angel? This is nuts. Angel Reese, she might have tapped out, y'all. Angel Reese may have tapped out and quit on the Chicago Sky. Everybody is speculating. What is this back injury? What's going on? Hey, are you trying to pretend like you hurt because Caitlin Clark really is hurt? Wait. What's going on? What's going on?
What really raised eyebrows was her absence from a road game in Indianapolis against the Fever, a matchup that's usually one of the WNBA's biggest draws. This is the player the league promotes as one of its main attractions, yet she skipped the most talked about rivalry of the season just a few weeks earlier, though she was in Indiana for the All-Star game, smiling for the cameras, making media rounds, and even pulling a publicity move claiming she took over Caitlin Clark's spot. So, the back injury seems fine when there's attention to be gained, but not when it's time to actually face Clark on the court. That's a trend plenty of fans have started to point out. Now, the follow-up chapter has arrived. This time, it's a mysterious back problem. There's no set return date, no real explanation, just word that it popped up right in the middle of another difficult stretch for the Sky. You can practically track it on the calendar. The team racks up big losses, the pressure builds for her to help turn things around, and suddenly, she's not in uniform. She's not even visible on the bench. At this point, it's almost easy to predict the exact week those day-to-day updates quietly transform into out indefinitely. Angel Reese is back on the day-to-day list, and at this point, fans can almost predict how the story goes. The updates are vague, the absences seem to stretch out, and the timing always appears to match moments when things aren't exactly going well for Chicago. It's a familiar pattern. Just last year, it was a wrist injury, described as a major fracture, with surgery that was presented as essential to avoid future arthritis before she even hit her mid-20s. And just like that, her season came to an abrupt end. No slow build toward a comeback. No late push to help close the season. Just over. Angel Reese is once again listed as day-to-day. If you've tracked her career, you know that label can mean a lot more than it seems. Last season, it turned into a season-ending wrist injury. This time, it's a vague back problem, and it just so happens the Chicago Sky have been picking up more wins without her in the lineup. On the other side, Caitlin Clark continues to smash records despite being sidelined with a legitimate groin injury, consistently supporting her teammates as the Fever push for a playoff spot. So, is Reese truly dealing with a serious injury? Or is this the most predictable disappearance the WNBA has seen? And why are people saying she's been embarrassed after appearing to walk away on her team? If you think this might be another carefully timed PR move, drop fire in the comments. Let's dive in.
She's using her back as an excuse to sit out because she doesn't really care about basketball. I think she looks over at Caitlin Clark and says, hey, Caitlin Clark is out with a legitimate injury. I proved my point before the All-Star game when I went on a 10-game run trying to justify being on the All-Star team. When that first ballot came out, when the first voting results came out about the All-Star game and I was 13th, holy cow, Angel Reese panicked, started playing hard, tried to put up some stats to justify being on the All-Star team, did that, and now she said, hey, the Chicago Sky sucked this year. Peace out.
Naturally, the whispers have begun. Is this about protecting her brand from another high-profile setback? Or is it about keeping her stats intact by steering clear of matchups where weaknesses might be exposed? The chatter isn't exactly flattering. Analysts are already suggesting she may have quietly shut it down for the rest of the season. Others aren't sugarcoating it at all. They're flat out saying she's walked away.
She identified once they lost Vandersloot, their point guard, early in the year, and once they started getting their brains beat in, hey, we're not going to win anything this year. I'm not putting these L's on my resume. I'm going to have an excuse for the Chicago Sky potentially coming in with the worst or second worst record in the WNBA. These losses will not be on my resume.
2 seasons, 2 injuries, each arriving right when the conversation around her game is at its lowest point. Both conveniently removing any chance to see whether she can push through a rough stretch and still make an impact. Line up those timelines, and it's difficult not to wonder if there's a plan at work where others just see bad luck. What makes it even harder to defend is what happens next. The moment she's off the court, the team suddenly starts playing like a cohesive basketball unit. That's when the situation shifts from suspicious to almost unbelievable.
Last year with the Chicago Sky, you quit. You quit. You threw in the towel. Once you realized you never stood a chance, to be honest, with Caitlin Clark for that Rookie of the Year. But once you realized your double streak was over, and it was over. She took over post-Olympic break. Once you realized it was done, you threw in the towel, said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year. You threw in the towel and said your wrist was hurting for the rest of the year and didn't play again. This past the inaugural season of Unrivaled, you didn't even finish that season. You didn't even show up for the championship. No, not only did you not play, you didn't even show up to the game at all. People noticing a pattern with you. That's 2 seasons in a row.
The Sky's win-loss record doesn't exactly match the image the team markets for Angel Reese. For someone promoted as the face of the franchise, the numbers paint a different picture. In fact, the team's track record is stronger when she's not on the floor, and this isn't based on just a handful of games. The stretches without her are when they've been able to string together wins and avoid the careless mistakes that keep them buried in the standings. For a player billed as a cornerstone, that's not the most flattering stat line.
Let's get it! Burn! Lack of awareness combined with a lack of ability to jump. Not great! Burn!
Me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow.
Yeah! Again! Do it for me. Me bound! Burn!
You only need to look at what happened when Chicago went up against Indiana without Caitlin Clark. Many assumed the Fever would be vulnerable without their star leader. Instead, Lexi Hull stepped up, scored 17 points, posted a +22, and helped Indiana cruise past the Sky. This is the same Chicago team that hasn't managed to solve Indiana all season, no matter the circumstances. Even with Clark on the sidelines, players like Hull, Boston, Mitchell, and Cunningham all thrived, moving the ball, playing within the flow, and avoiding the kind of forced shots meant to protect a personal brand rather than win the game.
Williams gonna have to hurry off the dribble, rolls out. Oh, open 3. Oh, what a sight for Alexi Hull. She has needed that one to drop.
Alexi Hull catching fire.
Now Chicago just needs to get it a little bit more settled here in the half court. Nurse loses it. Mitchell 2-on-1. It's a foot race. Mitchell to Cunningham. Cunningham right there for 2 more.
Team chemistry isn't some complicated mystery. You either have players who elevate everyone around them, or players who disrupt the rhythm. When Reese is off the floor, the ball moves with more purpose, and the stats back it up. Chicago's offense doesn't stall while waiting for her to force a post-up or crash the boards out of position. Instead of grinding through awkward, forced possessions, the guards actually execute the plays. The wings make sharp cuts, and the shots come from quality opportunities rather than rushed, last-second attempts.
What they do not understand is that coaches, and I know the WNBA in some regards isn't a real sports league, and I don't know if they think like real coaches and real people in sports, but the number one ability is availability. If you're not available, you have no value.
It's the classic addition by subtraction scenario, and the irony is hard to miss. Take away the player marketed as your biggest star, and somehow the team's energy goes up. Analysts have noted how the floor spacing improves and the pace quickens when she's not in the game. Even the bench appears more locked in. While the coaching staff hasn't said it outright, their comments hint at a team that plays with greater urgency when every possession isn't being forced through a single ego.
Okay, new strategy, team. Angel, keep doing your part. Everyone else, go rebound her misses. Burn! If she keeps missing layups at this rate, she's gonna be serving buttermilk pancakes at Denny's. Butter? Did somebody say butter? Butter pecan! Burn! At a certain point, you just got to applaud greatness. A rebound on her back? Are you kidding? Bang! Simon says, give me another pray-up. How about it? Bang! She really hit under the basket on a layup. Get this girl GPS. Bang! Everybody get up on your feet. It's time to meet and greet the most underpaid athlete. Bang!
That's where the biggest hoax in WNBA history label starts to feel fitting. A true star makes their team tougher to beat, not easier. If your absence suddenly turns your squad into a stronger opponent, the issue isn't the roster around you, it's you. The reality that Chicago plays better basketball without her is getting harder to dispute, no matter how the PR machine tries to frame it. And when you compare that picture to what's happening in Indiana, the difference is striking. While Reese fades from the lineup and her team finds ways to win without her, Caitlin Clark's presence instantly transforms the Fever the moment she steps on the court.
Caitlin Clark appears to have a legitimate injury that everybody can trace to a moment and a time during the games where she re-aggravated. She originally injured. She had a comeback where it lasted 2 or 3 games, re-injured it. They've hinted at a time frame of late August that she may return. Nothing but a mystery surrounds Angel Reese.
While Angel Reese fades into another stretch of vague injury updates, Caitlin Clark continues to show up. Even while managing a legitimate groin injury, she's still at the arena, often in uniform, locked in with her teammates, and making time for fans. This season, she's averaging 16.5 points and nearly 9 assists per game, leading the league in assists per game. Those numbers would stand out for any healthy player, but they're even more impressive for someone competing through pain. And when Clark is on the floor, those assists aren't empty stats. They're game-changing plays that shift momentum and decide outcomes.
Indiana Fever destroy the Chicago Sky in Indianapolis on Saturday. Guess who wasn't there? Angel Reese. Angel Reese declined to travel to Indianapolis, and her coach came out and said something about, she's just focused on her rehab right now, and, she's day to day. We've never had an explanation on what caused the back injury, what's a time frame for her recovery. It's similar to so-and-so's back injury. This is something she struggled with here or there. All we've heard is day-to-day, and Angel Reese has disappeared.
Her injury hasn't slowed her from rewriting the record books. And unlike some players who turn day-to-day into weeks of absence, Clark continues to travel with the Fever. She's on the bench lifting up her teammates, breaking down plays during timeouts, and staying engaged in the fight. Whether she's in uniform or not, that's the kind of commitment you can see. And more importantly, it's something her teammates can feel every single game.
And I'm proud of this group. I think we've shown all season long, they're resilient, they're connected, they pull for each other, they enjoy one another, they celebrate one another, and that stuff alone is good for 10 to 12 points a game. And, for this group, the way that they share the ball, how unselfish they are. I mean, I'm really proud of them. It's not been ideal circumstances all season long, but they've shown the character of who they are. They've been resilient. They've responded to adversity, and they continue to elevate one another. And, I couldn't be more proud of this group than I am at this moment.
The numbers tell the story. The Fever are 4-0 against Chicago this season, winning whether or not Clark is suited up. In every matchup, her leadership has set the tone from the opening tip. And it's far from a one-woman show. Aaliyah Boston is dominating the paint. Kelsey Mitchell remains a steady scoring weapon. Sophie Cunningham brings game-changing grit. Lexi Hull provides crucial minutes. And Natasha Howard offers the kind of veteran presence most teams would love to have. This is a roster built to thrive around Clark's style of play, and it's working.
Folks, yet again, the Indiana Fever face the Chicago Sky, and yet again, we whoop that. Oh boy. 92-70, it was a whole party.
Clark has made it clear that her goal isn't just to win a championship, it's to win multiple. She understands the long-term vision, and it shows in the way she connects with every player on the roster. That's why ratings spike when she's on the court. She's the draw. Sports outlets have already reported the dip in viewership whenever she's absent. To by contrast, outside of Chicago, few seem to notice when Reese is missing. Her absences don't generate headlines or impact the numbers. Clark's do, and that consistency sends a clear message. Game after game, through injuries, losses, and relentless hype, Clark is there. Reese's repeated disappearances not only hurt her image, they make Clark's dependability stand out even more. If this rivalry ever existed on equal marketing ground, the reality on the court has made the gap impossible to miss. While Reese slips into another stretch of cryptic injury updates, the Fever are quietly building something sustainable. There's no drama about who's suiting up, no question about whether their leader is ready to compete. Just a clear, steady plan that's already moving them forward.
What is the back injury? Everybody's questioning it now, and this will be a third straight season where Angel Reese did not finish playing in games, where she just stopped. She just stopped. Some of these injuries, we saw the injuries. We didn't see what happened. What happened? This is bad.
The difference between Chicago and Indiana couldn't be more obvious. The Sky continue to wrestle with the same issues: shaky consistency, roster uncertainty, and a promotional focus on a player who spends nearly as much time on the sidelines as she does competing. Indiana, on the other hand, is methodically building a roster that fits together. There's no desperate search for quick solutions. Instead, they're stacking pieces that can grow and win side by side for years to come. Clark has already been open about her ambition to win not just one title, but several. And looking at how this team is coming together, it feels like more than just a sound bite. You've got Aaliyah Boston, a dominant presence in the paint who's still improving. Kelsey Mitchell, a dependable scorer who forces defenses to stay honest. Veterans like Natasha Howard and Sophie Cunningham, bringing the leadership every young contender needs. And then there's Lexi Hull, delivering the hustle plays and energy that don't always show up in the box score but can change games.
I think it just says a lot about who we have as human beings. That was one of the things that we made a priority in the off season of, who we bring into this organization. Number one, quality human beings, selfless human beings, that want to pull for one another, that understand. We have this depth for a reason, and sometimes it creates challenges getting people on the floor. But in situations like this is why you have it. And I'm just, she's right. I mean, as a pro and as a pro coach, this is one of the most connected groups I've seen.
That blend of rising stars and seasoned pros is no accident. It's a deliberate plan. Clark's playmaking isn't just setting new marks in the record books. It's fostering a system where every player's strengths get maximized. The result? A style that's quick, efficient, and built to win. While some teams, like Chicago, seem stuck juggling chaos and explaining why key players aren't available, Indiana is quietly assembling a core that grows more dangerous with each game. And with every step forward the Fever take, the noise from elsewhere feels smaller. Angel Reese's ongoing injury uncertainty may actually be working in Clark's favor. Every time Reese disappears from the spotlight, Clark's influence becomes even more obvious. Fans can clearly see who's showing up, producing, and driving their team ahead. That if you care about the future of the league, the Fever are the ones to watch. They've got the talent, the vision, and a leader who refuses to vanish when things get tough. So ask yourself, do you back the players building a legacy, or the ones holding onto a marketing image? Indiana is making progress. Chicago is making excuses. The answer speaks for itself.